Welcome to the debut episode of Down East Sports Face to Face. I'm Steve Goodson, and with your co-host, Chris Miller, we're happy to bring you the latest show from Man Cave Media. And today, I couldn't think of a better way to launch this show than with today's guest. The Jacksonville Ospreys are entering their third summer in the Old North State League. And what started as a brand new expansion franchise has become one of the most talked about things happening in our community in the summer. Wood bat baseball, food trucks, a beer garden, and a family atmosphere that people keep coming back to. Today, I'm joined by two of the men responsible for making that happen. Eli Patino and his wife, Arlin, are the owners of the Ospreys, the couple who had the vision to bring collegiate summer baseball to our community. And Josiah Zamora, head coach, hometown kid, a Southwest High School graduate, and a man who simultaneously coaches baseball at Jacksonville High School during the school year and runs the Ospreys dugout all summer long. Gentlemen, welcome to the debut episode of Down East Sports Face to Face. Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, man. And welcome to you too, co-host.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
To have two fine gentlemen on this debut show, and let's get down to business. Talk some baseball.
All right, we will. And guys, we're just going to lob questions back and forth to you, and we'll go from there. So I'll take the first one. Ellie, take us back. Oh, and by the way, much like the Down East Prep Report, we have a show co-host mascot, and her name is Millie. She'll just enter into it, and she'll sit down and just kind of chill out. So I hope you guys like dogs. So Ellie, take us back to the beginning. What made you decide that the community needed a collegiate summer baseball team? And what did the early days of that dream look like for you and your wife, man?
Yeah, so if we're really taking it back, I'll tell you exactly. Probably the first seed that entered in my mind was back in 2004.
Wow.
And this is before any of this, before I was even married, and then I'll go into the next phase. But basically, I was got stationed here as a Marine. Mm-hmm. Never been to North Carolina, never been to Jacksonville. Got to the barracks, and I remember it was a March time frame. I got here, and it was warming up, and I was like, oh, man, let me see if there's baseball nearby. Search it up and find out that it's like an hour plus drive just to get to Kinston. I'm like, oh. So even as a single Marine living in the barracks, I was already immediately kind of turned off by the concept that, we have to drive. But in that summer, sure enough, even with, no kids in tow, we didn't have a curfew to be home, or whatever. With me and 3 other Marine buddies, we went up to only one game that summer because, it's a drive. So Now fast forward, I get married, lived here in Jacksonville, then we bought a business on Emerald Isle, so we moved out that way. And here we are, every summer we do one annual trip up to Kinston to go see a game, and we enjoy it. But the thing is, we're like, man, I wonder what it'd be like if there was something closer to Onslow County or something closer to this area. And, little by little, it's just kind of evolution of thought, if you will, and then talking to my wife, and, she's open to the idea, or agreeing with the idea, right? But we had no experience of where to start looking. And sure enough, found out, there's these firms that transact on all these things like this. And so we started researching and found out that, as far as minor league baseball, it was factually impossible after 2020 with the reduction of minor league teams. There's 120 teams. There can never be 121 type of thing. So, and on top of that, with the reduction of teams, professional baseball in general upped the ante as far as like what the existing stadiums had to have. So, I mean, you weren't talking, hey, let's just use this old legacy stadium and get a professional team. You literally had to build one from scratch, or it's going to be costly. And so now you have to find a team, but also find the funding and put the cart before the car, the horse before the horse. It was just factually impossible. Yeah. So we said, all right, that's obviously not going to happen. And so we started researching summer collegiate baseball, and just like the Morehead City Marlins or the Wilmington Sharks. And sure enough, we contacted some friends we have, Royce Bennett, a great supporter of baseball. He was actually the first phone call I made, have his personal number, and he said, Lee, I think this is a great idea, but you really need to talk to the city about this because they have the real estate.
Yep.
So next thing you know, we're meeting with the city, and they're ecstatic. They said no one has ever approached us about bringing baseball to this. Now, there was something that happened some 20, 25 years ago where they collected some funds or for a would-be possibility and it didn't work out. And so here we are revisiting this idea of bringing baseball to our community. And now the wind was to our back. They're like, yes, we're not going to let this go to the wayside. The city was very cordial. The Tourism Development Authority and the county commissioners were like, all right, let's see how we can make this happen. So that's pretty much in a nutshell the evolution of thought and processes how we got to where we are.
That's awesome, man.
And I remember talking to you the first time I talked to you over the phone, and they said, "Hey, I want to do a story about y'all trying to bring baseball," and you were like, "Well, you might need to hold off." And I said, "No, no, Mr. Patino." I think I referred to you as Mr. Patino at the time. I said, "The Mayor Phillips has already spilled the beans."
Yeah.
So I think that's how the ball got rolling.
Yeah, me being a businessman, I was like, "Well, wait till the fat lady sings until the lease is signed," you know. But I remember that call.
But when the boss man says it's okay, then I guess it was okay.
That's right.
So, but Ellie, talk about the name Jacksonville Ospreys and how that came into existence and what the process that came to be.
Yeah. So back in 2023, it is early June. So once we got the lease signed, at that point we can transact and go ahead and buy the team, if you will, from the Old North State League and the franchise rights, however you want to look at it, and get to work. So the first thing we need to do is create an identity, right? What will our name be? Now, we didn't want to come up with the name. We wanted the community to come up with the name, and in a very candid way. So we literally just published a pretty crude website because we didn't know what the name of the website ultimately would be. I think it was jacksonvillebaseball.com or something like that. And so we put it out there on social media. Within a couple weeks, I think we ran the first initial naming contest for about a week. We had over 600 name submissions. By far, Ospreys was the most common name submitted in that initial one. So then we regrouped and we said, all right, we actually had this whiteboard in our dining room and we put all these names on there. We picked the top 3 by popular name, which were Ospreys, Devil Dog, and I think Fighting Gooses or Fighting Geeses. And then we picked 3 other ones that we felt were pretty safe for the local area. Then we picked 3 that we thought were just kind of like out there that would be funny should they be picked. One of them was like the Whippersnappers because we're such a young community, right?
Yeah.
And so we put those 9 names out there with a 5-day, I think, window. Within like, I think 18 hours or 24 hours, whatever it was, statistically, we knew by how many votes Ospreys was going to get. We were like, all right, this is going to be the name.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and start working on this behind the scenes. So yeah, that's how we came up with the name. So
Great. I was a marketing guy for 35 years. Great marketing, man, just to get build interest in the community, get that buy-in before you ever lined a field, hired a player, before you did anything. You're starting to build community support, and that's key.
Well, that's it comes back to like my wife and I. Yeah, okay, we're the owners. But every sports team has an owner, so to speak. But we didn't view it as it's our team. We're going to do it the way we want to do it, frankly. And being humble about it, we never ran a sports team before. I have no experience in this. I mean, I have a business, I have employees, but I knew, hey, this is the community's team. Let's make sure it caters to them to the best possible, because that's ultimately what's going to be the big win, right?
That's awesome. Coach, you signed the first year as a player to play with the Ospreys and ended up becoming the pitching coach midseason. Then you were named head coach in year 2. Walk us through that move and through that journey. Did you ever think it would happen that fast, or did you think you would be young forever and keep pitching?
He's still young.
Definitely didn't see it just spiraling and how it went down, but I was in a position to where I was in a gap year in college, looking to go to 5th year, exploring opportunities, and actually met Ellie playing slow pitch softball one day, and called me whatever later in the summer. Hey, need some arms, whatever. Go out there, and some things didn't work out with the previous coach, and felt like when things started clicking well, I was like, well, I knew I could do this, for a future. And obviously I went to school for sports management, so it was already, in the foreseen future, just didn't know when. But really when the pieces worked out, it was just like a hand of God being there, really just pushing me there, nudging me there, and then maybe a month later, JHS called and said they had the opening.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
At the time when you were a player, you were not yet the head coach.
No.
And then you morphed to pitching. But it wasn't until you became the head coach of the Ospreys?
Right.
Okay. Cool.
So I was there. I had signed on to JHS to be an assistant to help out for the coming year to get in the school system. But then things didn't work out there with previous coach as well. So just been 2 open doors that God's allowed me to walk through, really, and forever grateful for that relationship.
You're the cleanup dude, man. You come in when the coach is when kind of they depart ways, man.
Nah, I hope it's not. I hope that's not the way it goes
I'm
in the
just
future.
messing.
Well, was that a little overwhelming? Because now, first off, you're kind of stuck between you not knowing what to do in life,
Sure.
and now all of a sudden you're the head coach of a summer collegiate team, high school team, and now you're a teacher at the school. So all this stuff happened kind of all at once. So did it kind of? When do you sleep?
At times, you look back at it and you're wondering, just for the player in you still, can you continue to do this and that? But you look back on it and you see what I did do and what I can continue to give just to the community here. I think it was a good move, and really it was the right one to make. At the time, just kind of nudged me in the right situation. Didn't even look and think twice about it, honestly.
So, Ellie, I know the city, and you and your family have credited the city of Jacksonville and staff there for the help that those folks had put together. But it was a work in progress trying to make sure this field was put together in time for opening day 2 years ago. And there's still some projects down in the works. But what was that situation like as you're trying to prepare for opening day, but also those pieces are still trying to be put together? Was that a little nerve-wracking?
It was, I wouldn't say nerve-wracking, but it was like, look, we wanted to be good stewards of everything, like we didn't want to feel like, hey, we're bringing a team and have some sort of chip on our shoulder and like, hey, build us a field. Like we went to the city and said, how can we work together really? And it's been that way. We have an extremely great relationship with the city. Everybody from the grounds crew there at the field all the way up to city manager. And that's how we operate. Like we want to be candid in the way we approach things. And there's things the city said, look, no, we can't do that. And not because they don't want to, they do. It's just obviously at the end of the day, it's like, hey, how much money is there, right? But the one thing the city did say is like, they love the idea that we can come in here. They could definitely invest some money. The TDA can put some money in here. The county wrote us a check for equipment. And then kind of grow with the community, right? Get proof of concept where we're like, yeah, if the roles were reversed, that's how we would operate, and it's fine. And there are some things actually in the works to kind of hopefully get some more improvements at the ballpark. So in a lot of ways, it felt like initially we're like, all right, we're starting at ground level. Then after that first season, we're like, all right, we're actually starting below ground level. Now we're at ground level. Now we're trying to continue building up. And so, yeah, there's some more things in the works. I think as long as, which has been great, the corporate support's been great. Everyone's been great. As long as it's still there, Ospreys baseball, I can tell you for sure, is going to continue to grow in a lot of different ways.
That's awesome. So you mentioned county, city support. You mentioned corporate support. Let's talk about some other type of community support. It's the host family program.
Yeah.
You bring in players from across the country, from other nations, and community families are opening up their homes. What has that meant for you guys, and just for the culture? I'm a big culture guy, so what has that meant for the culture of your organization?
Well, so for pretty much anywhere when it comes to summer collegiate baseball, if you didn't have host families, you wouldn't have summer ball. It just wouldn't happen. I mean, housing is just too cost prohibitive as it is, especially nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So we tell our host families on a regular basis, you are the backbone of Ospreys baseball. So, and in a lot of ways, and there's been a lot of opportunities, if you will, that the host families have created not just great friendships with these players, but lifelong bonding relationships. We get reports back from host families every year that, I'm still in touch with, player such and such, even though he's moved on to grad school or he's moved on to whatever career path he's going down in life. And we love hearing those stories. The host families that have youth in the home that are athletes, whether it's baseball, whatever, lacrosse, you pick the sport. when they see, and even if they're not in the athletics, but when they see how a college athlete carries themselves, they get some, indirect and direct experience and life lessons, I guess, if you will. I mean, we've seen it firsthand, and host families have reported to us that in firsthand. So yeah, we're very grateful. And as far as the summer team goes, we have a pretty good abundance of host families. Like I know summer teams struggle in a lot of communities. We cater to our host families. We try, hey, what can, like here, right before the season starts, we have a potluck dinner at Half Moon Volunteer Fire Department.
Nice.
All the staff come out, coaches, host families. If there's players, families in town, everybody just comes out there, break bread together, introduce each other, just, hey, kick off the season right. And
this before you get to coach. So this is truly, man, the community's team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, this is, like I said, from the outset, my wife and I were like, it's the community team. Like we never, just in our personal business, our business we have, we don't operate as a, do as I say, not as I do. Like we're here, the blood, sweat, and tears along with our staff at the ball field. We're doing everything hands on, and there's been a lot of instances where there's humility, great gratitude. I mean, if it wasn't for the overall support, the program would be so much more muted.
That's awesome.
And so, Coach, ultimately, the nature of this business is to try to develop these players and get them prepared, better players for their college teams. But you guys do want to win. I mean, you play to win the games, and I know last year y'all started 11-1 or so, and
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then some injuries, some players had to return to their college teams for different reasons. So I think y'all finished 20-14 last year. Made the playoffs. As you look back, what did you learn kind of from last season, the highs and the lows and the in-betweens about managing the roster and then kind of managing yourself as a coach? Kind of what'd you learn about yourself?
I think last year, like you said, obviously we had two big stretches of one when we were super hot, and then obviously come back post All-Star break, just cold. Something I can do better at that point is just managing the bats a little differently, riding the hot hand, especially when they're doing things that are helping contribute to success for us. And ultimately that's a W. And like Ellie mentioned, it's a community's team. And I know the community would have something to cheer for when it got down to nitty and gritty in August. But riding that hot hand would be the biggest thing that I can think of. But hopefully not having guys leave again is the biggest thing.
But is it difficult because all these guys a lot of them are the starters on their own colleges, and there are times where you have to not play some guys. So how difficult is that managing baseball ego sometimes?
Oh, for sure. It's not an easy thing telling a guy who might have hit 350 with 10 home runs, hey, you're not playing today, but they come in, they're understanding of it. Everyone's going to cheer everybody on. But, I think the biggest thing they could do and the best thing for them is they support everybody the same way that they would get supported, when they're doing good. So if everybody can be cheerleaders of each other, it makes things easier for me to put in somebody regardless of if they're batting 200 or if they're batting 600.
I would think too, man, at that age, you're just happy to be playing baseball during the summer. And not like having to get a real job.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're continuing to play baseball, and you're just having fun, man. You're living a great life. Millie's joined Ellie, and which means she's very comfortable. So Ellie,
this is a good arm rest.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So in addition to being a great lover of dogs, you and Arlene were named the Old North State Executives of the Year in that first year.
Yeah.
So you must have been doing something right. Now heading into year 3, how has your role as an owner evolved, and what do you know now that you wish you knew when you first got going, man?
Those are great questions. So the role has generally stayed the same. The first year, Dylan, prior to the start of that actual first year and a little for the semester afterwards, school semester, Dylan was a part-time general manager. Okay. In the beginning, you got to watch costs because you really don't know what ticket sales are going to be. You know, your worst, best, and base case scenarios, and then weather is a factor. You know, if you get a lot of rain, like last year we had a lot of rain, and it kind of affects things. It makes it challenging.
So y'all, and I don't mean to interrupt you. Do you guys make those games up? I mean, or is that just or is that just home games that
supposed to?
Okay, you're supposed to. So if it's not made up, obviously revenue lost. Okay, sorry, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, yeah. So we have to make up the conference games at the very least.
Okay,
unless there's an extenuating circumstance, where monsoons are just showing up left and right. Yeah. And then we go to the visitors field and they can't even play because their field's underwater. Then we'll just have to figure it out. It is a short season. So, but as far as my role goes, my wife's role, I mean, we still handle the high level stuff, payroll and all the business admin stuff. Dylan has now come into more a full-time role for the most part, and he handles a lot of the sponsorships, dealing with banner creations, hiring. He does a lot of interviews. Ideally, we would like to get to him and get him like an assistant GM, operations manager, so then they could take the bulk of the things. And frankly, I'll tell you why, because where I'm happiest, frankly, at the ball field. Don't get me wrong, I'm an administrator. Like I have a business. I understand all that stuff. And you got to do what needs to be true so you can make things happen. But I tell you what, being fan engagement, dressing up like whatever theme that it is, or I think I had red, white, and blue suspenders one game because it was Flag Day or something, and I was launching. That's where I'd like to be.
Mm-hmm. But that's because on your website, you're president, owner, and you're director of fun.
Director of fun.
I saw that on the website. So, and that's awesome, man. Because if you're not having fun doing it, then you got to have fun. So, what would you do, knowing now? I always get confused with that. So, wish you knew now.
I'd tell myself 3 years ago, my three-year younger self. I would say, look, there's gonna be things that you cannot do because or things that you just have to focus on the fun factor. Yeah. And I actually tell coach this too, and coach is on the same page. Is like, it's more fun to win. Mm-hmm. Trust me, we all want to win. But at the end of the day, if these players leave here like, wow, that was a fun summer of baseball. We've already had some players report to us like that was the best summer of baseball they've ever had. Mm-hmm. And that feels great to hear because they're like, look, chemistry was good in the dugout. They got to come here because they're on a pretty rigorous schedule as it is at their colleges, right? Yeah. Playing baseball and school and athletics and travel. So they get to come here and just focus on baseball and kind of like relax a little bit, go to the beach, whatnot, engage in the community. So I would just say it's all about having fun. Mm-hmm. You just got to have fun with it, really, because that's what we're in. We're in the entertainment business. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, that's what summer collegiate baseball is. That's the way we view it. So.
And now you talked about the chemistry and one thing, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, Steve. I like trying to get people in trouble. But the one thing that I was really impressed with y'all's players last year was somebody from the non area said some disparaging words on social media. We won't go into detail. Your players rally behind that. And these guys are not originally. You have a couple guys from here locally that play, that graduate here in high school in Jacksonville. But these guys are from different parts of the country, and they rallied around and they took offense to. I mean, and I was really impressed that how they took that and they rallied behind that. So that shows the type of culture that you guys have developed. So,
just fuel to the fire. It's not hard to get a young person like that already more motivated than you need to be. So,
but coach, I mean the Ospreys. I mean, it has been a launching pad for some of the local talent. Mason Meyer, Brandon Bannerman, Trent Murchison. I mean, these guys are that. What does it mean to you personally to be able to be a part of these guys' lives and help them develop and represent Onslow County in a positive way?
Yeah, I think it's truly a bigger concept than I can probably imagine. Mm-hmm. Me growing up here, there wasn't nothing like that around. Mm-hmm. Rookie hadn't launched yet, so we were kind of in the gray area with just guys who could advise or just nudge you in the right direction. So for them, I think it's you at times they might have too many resources in their hands. So, but for me, it's just, I can be the listening ears for them when they just need to vent, that's good enough for me. But looking back on it, I can be happy and say those were some of the guys who started the foundation. So,
And Coach, how old are you?
24.
24. And did you think you would be at 24 years old listening to 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are still growing up? Because, I mean, I'll be honest with you, man, you're 24, you're still growing up.
Still a lot to learn.
Yeah, but that's awesome, man. Kudos to you. I mean, just absolutely kudos to you, man. That's awesome. And I think I asked you on the high school show when you were on here in the spring, which was harder to coach, the high school kids or the college kids. And I don't remember what you answered.
High school for sure.
Yeah, high school for sure. Yeah. Okay.
They're still learning.
Yeah. Ellie, family friendly environment is what, I mean, that's atmosphere, right? The nest. And I mentioned it in the introduction, food trucks, beer garden, kids chasing autographs after games. How intentional was that vision from day one?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you keep building on it, man? Because everybody wants the next new thing, right? The next new promotion, the next new whatever night. I'm sure you're a student of baseball, and I can't remember the guy's last name, but Oakland A's back in the 70s, man, did all these kind of crazy things. And I'm not saying crazy things and doing crazy things, but how do you keep that interest and keep that family-friendly environment going?
Yeah, so at the outset, the way we summed it up, my wife and I and Dylan was like, all right, what are we ultimately trying to achieve with a team, right? And we know summer ball is an outlet for players to develop their craft of baseball. They come here and hopefully they can leave here, leveling up a little bit, report back to their coach and like, yes, Jacksonville is great for me. I've picked up some skills, whatever the case may be. So we knew that there's one pillar as far as player development. So whatever we can do to make the players in that comfortable in that environment and excel in that environment, however we can do it, great, perfect. All right. The next pillar was bringing families to the ballpark. Not necessarily theme nights and everything. That's obviously part of that, but ultimately, we are a community of very young families. I mean, I think we're probably the youngest. And
we're the youngest per median age in the country.
Precisely. So, and that's largely due to the military presence here. Yeah. Me being used to live on base, and I totally understand that. So, the idea is that we want one, player development to be something that is a beacon here, because then if college coaches hear about that, which they are, then they're going to say, I want to send my players to you. I want to send them over there. I know they're going to be taken care of, and they're going to be in a warm community that accepts them and with open arms. But two, we want the ballpark to be a great place where families can go to and say, look, I didn't have to drive an hour and a half to go to a game. I got home at a decent hour, and it didn't cost me an arm and a leg to go out with my family because, they're younger couples. Obviously, budgets are going to be a little tighter. And so my wife actually recognizing that after last year, I don't know if you guys know this, but in the fall, we made the decision to make it 12 and under free to get in, except for the home opener and the once a rain, always a rain night. But every other game for the season, if you're 12 years or younger, basically middle school, 7th grade or younger, you don't have to buy a ticket. You just show up with, your parents and you get in for free, because my wife was a big proponent for this. She said, cost prohibitiveness should not be associated with Ospreys baseball. We should be a beacon where families say, you know what are we doing tonight? There's Ospreys games. Let's go. And the idea of how much money we're going to spend tonight shouldn't be at the forefront of their thought. They should be like, let's go have fun tonight.
Mm-hmm. So, man, kudos. I know I didn't know that. And kudos to you, man. That's awesome. Because nowadays when you try to if you want to take I don't have my kids are grown, but if you were, a married couple with couple kids, you take 2 kids and you and your wife to the ballpark for a baseball game, between the tickets and food and everything, you're going to drop $400 or $500, man.
Oh, easy.
And for you doing that, that's all that is awesome. Kudos to you guys. I already wish you monumental success, but that's great, man.
And to add on to that, and that is made possible, frankly, because of our corporate support. I mean, we're able to provide amenities for the players, but also the funding's there. So we're like, look, we have more leeway. We, I was on the phone right now with Austin Snow, our entertainment host, and he's buying props. He's buying for Elvis night. We're buying wigs. We got all these things, but the money's there. We're like, yeah, go ahead and buy it. Yeah, let's go ahead and add that to the cart. Let's make this happen, because, we don't have to worry about, be granular with the budget.
Yeah,
We have some leeway to make sure we can have that fun factor as best we can. So
I can already see, just to let you know, we're going to have probably a part 2 of this at some point in time. We'll have to bring Dylan, and I was short-sighted in not inviting Dylan, I guess, first base, but maybe during the season we can get Dylan and maybe a couple players to come on. So just thinking about that.
And maybe one day we can get you to throw the opening pitch.
No, man. No.
Well,
I'm a raggy left-hander.
We have Bark at the Park night, Wiener Dog 500.
Definitely. If we're in town, dude, we're coming.
And I did want to ask Josiah and Ellie this because you do. You want to get the families involved, but the players have to have a big part in this too because they have to be family, fan oriented and fan friendly. So, are those conversations that y'all have with the players going into the season, saying, "Look, we want you to have fun, we want you to play baseball and get better, but you're also representing the Onslow County as well." Are those conversations y'all have?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely multiple occasions, where we'll tell them after a game, just show them some love, just because those guys look up to you and, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for them. But, obviously if you play a bad game and you're pissed about that, go over to the little kid.
That's hard. That's tough, man.
Yeah. But, the little kid's looking up at you like a Superman. So it makes you feel better about yourself at the end of the day. So,
and I'll give you a report. I was at a military affairs committee. I'm on the MAC, and we're on base. This is once a month, a dinner where we honor a Marine or service member of the month. But I was at the table I was at. We had the commanding officer of the air station and the sergeant major. They're in suits, so I didn't know their ranks or anything. But the commanding officer was telling me, like, yeah, my son wants to play for the Ospreys when he grows up. And his son's 8 or 10 years old. So, I mean, that's a testament right there. Like, the kid didn't show up probably. Yeah, he saw the players, but I've heard other testimonies where a player just simply gave a kid a high five, or something of that nature, a little smile, whatever case may be, and then made the kid's day. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, Coach, I mean, so you graduated from Southwest. You're coach at Jacksonville now, running the Osprey dugout. So when you're standing at the home plate at Jack Amyette on a summer night for the Ospreys, and there's a big crowd, what's going through those? What's going through your thoughts?
It's good to be home. I guess. Simplest way to put it, I guess.
I mean, what's the adrenaline like in a big game, or opening night? I mean, what's the is it like coaching a 3rd round playoff game?
No, not that much pressure, but I'd say really just trying to get the boys fired up. Something to get them fired up with, whether that's the crowd or something I can help with, but me just try to be as calm and collective as possible.
And glad to be home, man.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
No better place to be.
Let's talk this season. Exciting, I'm sure. What's different about this year's team, and what are you guys most excited about? Business, community, team-wise, whoever wants to start. What are y'all most excited about this year's team and this year's season?
Well, I'll let them speak more to the team. But one thing that's new this year that we're very proud of is our in the fall, actually in September, early fall, we reached out to the Carolina Museum of the Marine that's opening up.
Oh, yeah.
So we met with Ashley, the staff over there, Major General Schrader, and they're all for it. They're like, look, and we said, look, we'd like to partner with you, not just this year, but frankly, because we have a large Marine veteran presence in our community, me being one of them. So it definitely drives, near and dear to my heart, is we want to do a once a Marine, always a Marine night, in collaboration with the Carolina Museum of the Marine, but not just on their inaugural year, because they're opening up here on June 8th, but every year. And this is something, and another way to look at it too, is we want to also look at it as like no Marine left behind, if there was, in parentheses, because there's a lot of Marine veterans in our community that have their struggles, maybe don't connect as well, because they've been out of the Marine Corps. Maybe they kind of long for that camaraderie, that spirit of Corps. We're hoping that this annual game and collaboration with the museum could be something where, hey, let's go out to the ballpark, experience some of that, old Marine Corps motivation, whatever you want to call it. And so that's something we're proud to partner with
That's awesome.
the museum, but we're looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Team-wise, Coach, what you think? And we've got a question, a follow up here to talk more specifically about the team. Why don't you ask that question, because that's going to lead a lot into this year's team.
Because you do have the roster already just about set. I think you're bringing in 16 arms this year and 15 hitters. So what's
18 hitters?
I'm sorry,
18.
Okay.
So what's the identity you want this ball team to have in terms of the product on the field?
I don't know if Ellie's gonna like it, but I'd say
I'd
say the villains of the league really just kind of have not a bad boy rep, but just try to have that mindset of we're gonna go in on the road and we're gonna beat you no matter where we're at. Obviously Tarborough's big around the league, Edenton, but if we can steal the division and go in the playoffs with that type of mentality of we're gonna, be the supervillains, I think we can, bring something back to Jacksonville.
Yeah, you can be a supervillain and have fun, so I'm all for it.
Yeah,
have fun and I'm all for it. So
that's awesome. So if I'm not mistaken, I know in the spring we talked about this. Vasco Sutton and McGuire Lewis, both guys that played for you at Jacksonville High School, are suiting up for the Ospreys this summer. Kids you coached. What's it going to be like, man? Coaching, going from being their high school coach to their college, their college skipper. And what do you think the level of competition is going to do for those? And I don't mean to single them out, but we've talked to them.
Yeah.
What do you think that level of competition is going to do for them as they prepare to go to college?
I think they're happier that I could probably be more relaxed on them now. Not as much riding into a high school season compared to college summer ball, but for them, I think it's going to do wonders, especially for Vasco, just to see some of the better pitching that he's going to see at Brunswick.
Yeah.
And really just to see what he can handle in terms of his versatility, because he catches and pitches, and, he's going to need to play a position as well, whether that be third base or second base. So be a little bit of experiment with Vasco. McGuire's just going to see, how fast he can bounce back. I think he's going to have a bullpen role when he gets to college. So just trying to see how well he can bounce back in a short amount of time compared to, him being a starter the past 4 years.
Yeah.
You have, 1 day a week to go out there and throw. So it'll be interesting, but I think they're both up for the challenge and they're ready for the next step.
Yeah. Great kids, both of them great kids. I mean, you had a bunch of great kids on the team, but we talked to them too on the other show, and great kids.
Do they still have the Slim Shady haircuts?
Unfortunately, yeah, they still do. If I had to imagine, they'd probably still be there Sunday, so we'll see.
What's the Slim Shady haircut? I'll have to look that up.
They bleach their hair for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we tried to get Coach to do his, but he didn't want to take part.
I told him if they won the third round game, I would have.
So, well, Coach, beyond the local guys, you are pulling in some fresh talent from programs all across the country.
Yeah.
Can you kind of walk us through that recruiting process, and how do you find these players from different states and even different countries, and how do you blend make that blend mix?
Yeah, a lot of it is really just connections. Knowing who you know, and then word spreads from other people. Oh, we heard good things about you, so we want to get in contact and we want to send guys there. So really just me contacting coaches and seeing if they want to place guys here, or me contacting a kid, whether that be social media or word of mouth. But this past year we had a good amount of returners that I decided to ask, first come, first serve, type of deal for a spot. So it was good to have that. Got 11 returners, I believe. And then, your local guys are next that you want to go in and get a part. And then from there, it's just filling in the puzzle. What else do we need? We are blessed, I'd say, with Jacksonville and the reputation that they've presented from the organization standpoint. A lot of kids want to come in and play. So it's kind of like picking and choosing from like a transfer portal database almost. There's tons of guys that submit applications every day. So it's pretty much just picking and choosing who I think fits best, really.
So let me ask you a question. Player that is coming the greatest amount of distance, who is that player? Do you know?
Kan Yoshimura. He's from Japan.
Wow.
He played at a junior college in Nebraska, but he's from Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is first year here, and then we got 2 guys from the Dominican Republic who both played in college here, but born in
the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, born there.
So a true international
Yep.
player. That's awesome. Last question before rapid fire. I shared these questions, and Coach has been rapid fired before on the other thing, but after this, we've got some rapid fire questions for you. Just quick answers that we didn't share the questions. But last question for anybody listening who hasn't been to a game yet, what's the one thing you want them to know about what they'll experience when they get to the park and walk through the gates at Jack Amyette?
When they show up at Jack Amyette Park, they're going to instantly feel like, wow, this is more than just a regular ball field. This is actually a true community-built, community-driven ball field and feeling when you go there. And we've gotten testimony real quick. Family comes up to us, young family, 2, 3, 4-year-old daughter, and they say, we don't even know the rules of baseball. We don't even watch baseball, but our daughter loves coming to the games. So that alone tells you the kind of what we're building, what we're trying to do. So
that's awesome, man. That is awesome. All right, rapid fire. You're going to start with rapid fire. I will tell you this: we are going to cut out because I messed up the last number 10. Mm-hmm. That's very similar to the question that I asked.
Oh, that's fine.
Just asked. So we'll go from so 9 will be the last one.
Oh,
so go ahead.
So all right, rapid fire. Ellie. Best ballpark food at the Nest. What are you ordering?
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. That's pretty good.
Last year they had some like mini donut truck.
Yeah,
I had a couple players go grab me some during the game.
Cool. During the game. Nice. Okay. Favorite moment from the dugout in 2 seasons of Osprey baseball. Go.
When little Ellie got ejected.
Oh yeah, my son got ejected. We pre-planned this with the umpire, so he went out there and the umpire ejected him.
Nice.
For arguing a call my son did. We got it on video. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's right.
That's awesome.
So Ellie, moment as an owner that made you think, wow, we actually pulled this thing off.
Oh wow. Yeah. Opening day, that initial season when we're standing out there looking at the crowd, it was pretty surreal. I mean, we had 3,000 people there, give or take. So
that's great. Coach, toughest part of being both a high school coach and the Ospreys coach in one word, just one word. That's a tough one.
No.
How about if I give you 3 or 4 words? Go ahead.
Not enough time.
Not enough time.
Yeah.
That's it. I get it.
Ellie, one word to describe Josiah Zamora.
Efficient.
Efficient. Coach, one word. Coach, one word to describe Eli Patino.
Passionate.
Passionate. Passionate.
All right. Ellie, strikeout or home run? Which gets the crowd louder at the Nest?
A home run.
Really?
Home run. All right. Coach, a player you coached who you think is going places, without naming names, don't want any names, describe that person. Describe that kid.
Just very outgoing.
Okay.
He's kind of kid that walks in the room and you instantly notice him, not like in a shining way, but in a goofy way, Yeah. One of the class clowns, you could say, but you get to know him more and you realize he's pretty smart, he's got a good head on his shoulders really well in the classroom. So I think that guy could pan out and, be like a CEO, president of a firm type of guy, but, walks in the room and making jokes you would never anticipated. So
that's cool. So before you ask the last one, I wanted to tell you, man, that answer really impresses me because I wasn't looking for, hey, who maybe is going to be a D1 player, because we all know, I played football in college for a couple of years. We all know the percentage of athletes that go to the next level, then go to the next level, but how things like this prepare you for life.
Oh yeah.
And so I love that answer, man.
So, Coach, finish this sentence. The Jacksonville Ospreys are
2026 Old North State League champs.
Oh, Ellie?
That's awesome.
Hopefully.
The beacon of baseball for the Old North State League and fun. So.
Cool. That's great. That's great. Ellie, Coach, thank you. What a way to open this show. This is exactly the kind of conversation we had in mind when we were thinking of launching Down East Sports face-to-face. A couple who had an idea, and that couple would be you and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
You bet on that community that they love, and you went to work. And a hometown coach, a teacher of men, leading this group and making a difference. And now on a summer night in Jacksonville, you can pull up a lawn chair at Jack Amyette, grab something from the food truck, and watch college baseball players chase their dreams right here at home. That's special, and it's all because of people like Eli and Arlin Patino and Coach Zamora. And you guys showed up. If you want to catch the Ospreys live this summer, head to jacksonvilleospreys.com for the full schedule, tickets, and everything happening at the Nest. You can also follow them on Facebook and Instagram for the latest. And if this episode has hit for you, if it's a reminder of why local sports matter and why the stories being told right now here in our community deserve to be heard, share it. Send it to someone who loves Jacksonville, who loves our community. I'm Steve Goodson, and for co-host Chris Miller, thanks for watching Down East Sports Face-to-Face and from Man Cave Media. Stay tuned for more episodes coming your way. We'll see you next time.